Hey everybody, this is Manadog with another Starcraft Underground League Season 2 cast. This cast is from the third place match, Week 8, between teams Legion and Unhinged. This is particularly between ash.Green, a Zerg from Legion, and I don't know how to say this name, it's either Ninek or 9K, I'm going to say 9K. The Terran from Unhinged. The first map in this set is Match Point. So let's jump into it. Okay, so spawning in the bottom left, we have 9K as the red Terran, and spawning in the top right, we have green as the blue Zerg. They picked other colors, but they were like completely indiscernible on the map, so we're going with red and green. I don't really know how 9K plays, to be honest, so I'm just going to assume that he's like a fairly standard Terran. He'll probably go like 2x cat or something like that. Green I do know a little bit better. Green he's like a very passive player in general, I would say, although I guess sometimes lately he does more all-ins, but he's like kind of a passive, I would say like contemplative player. Like he definitely wins by making good decisions, smart decisions, rather than like having insane APM. So you'll see like 9K is over 400 here and Green's just hanging out at 130, just doing what he actually needs to do. He's got his Overlord coming, so this is probably going to be a 12 hatch. Similarly, 9K's got his first depot down. He's not opting to wall on this map. This map is pretty wonky to wall on. At least on this spawn, you can get your Marine to spawn on the inside, but it's still kind of a pain, to be honest. So I understand not wanting to mess with that and wall here. Oh, and here we go. Green is actually doing an overpool. So he wants to get some lings out on the map. He doesn't want to have to worry about if there's a potential 8 racks here. Obviously, there's only 2 spawns. This is a 2-player map, so any sort of 8 racks you know directly where to go. But that also does mean that there's a very long rush distance between these two players on this map. So this is kind of like not any sort of sim, I guess, in the early game. So we're gonna maybe focus on just like holding this area, or we'll have to put down a bunker when we go to take our CC, something like that, against any sort of ling pressure. 9K scouting, fairly normal time. Green sending an earlier drone scout, I would say. I've seen like a variation that I actually like to do when I play Zerg, where you overpool, but you send like the 8th drone on a 2-player map, and you'll arrive in time to see if it's an 8 racks, and then you can kind of audible, and if you see it's the 8 racks, you overpool, and if you don't see the 8 racks, you'll know you can 12 hatch, and like in the case of the 12 hatch, and I guess in both cases, it's just like it's a little slower, but it's like a nice mid-ground. I've seen Sulky do it. So yeah, just kind of fairly standard stuff going on here. Lings are coming. We'll see how 9K reacts. Okay, he's putting his CC to block. This should not fully block. Lings should still be able to get in here, but that's an interesting choice to use the CC for SimCity. Yeah, you'll need to pull a few SCVs, which he is. I mean, this should be enough to block, the 6 Lings, especially if they kind of conga in. Okay, he's at least pulling them up here first. You can also see on the production tab that it looks like Green is going for like a 2.5 hatch, which is where you place your first hatch, your expansion, and then you get your gas, and then you make another hatch. Actually, I think I have that wrong. I think when you do a 2.5 hatch, you know what? I'm just not going to commentate on it because I obviously don't know what I'm talking about. So 9K, we have the second racks going down. We're a little late on this, on the gas, and then the upcoming, I assume, Academy. So Green has got kind of a hidden base here. He's hoping that 9K doesn't scout up here, which wouldn't be that weird if he didn't. There was a fight here. We lost some of the lings. Okay, there's 3 of the kills. Yeah, so Green lost a lot of these lings, and it looks like not really for anything. CC's done. Moving out. So Green was forced to make more lings, so his drone count is like a little bit light. This lair is kind of slow because we've taken this hatchery up in the corner, but 9K was not able to keep anything alive long enough in the base to really scout that. Yep, so there's the academy. Our upgrades, though, I feel like are a little slow for 9K. Normal timing would be we would need our eBay like pretty soon. Yeah, here's the bunker I'm talking about because this is a tough map to sim on. Green just kind of droning up. There will be done soon. Any sort of tech that comes out of this, though, is again going to be fairly slow because that hatchery up in the corner. Stim coming. 9K, I mean, is like, so normally you would need to be making the eBay already. Like if this were like an earlier Muta build, like we're making comm stats now, I guess we want to scan. But by the time these are done and we scan, it would already be too late, even for if this had been like a 12 pool or something, or, you know, just like faster mutas off of the overpool. That stuff would be too late for the mutas. Yep, so he's gonna scan. Okay, yep, so he sees the natural, he sees the main. He knows that the spider is on the way, has no idea about the hidden base. We have kind of a gas pool. I think we're just light on drones. Because we've taken the extra extractor, but we're not actually using it. Finally, the eBay is going down. I mean, I guess if this were like a 3-hatch build, the timing would be okay. Like you'd be able to, because turrets build, you know, pretty quickly. They're like, it's like 15 seconds or something. So you could throw down the turrets now and they'd be in time for like a 3-hatch unit timing. But instead we are pressing forward. These sunks should be done in time. Well, actually, maybe they aren't. One of them definitely is. But we're baiting them a little bit away with these lings, so now they will be definitely 2. And this ramp kind of situation kind of stinks. Like you take sunken shots before you're really ready to engage. I also think that 9K doesn't have marine range, and he's losing all this bio anyway. Or most of it. Okay, so not all of it, but this is obviously not enough to actually do anything. So first 3 mutas are on the way. We do definitely need to populate this. We need to get into gas here. 8 mutas on the way, not really any other sort of tech coming. Again, I don't think that 9K has made range, so when these mutas start getting here, I mean, you really just can't fight mutas with bio until you have range. Like, unless the micro is just not there. Okay, so here's our initial 6. We definitely need to send these. Yeah, see what we can get done, get a little information. Green is like, yeah, Green is incredibly blind, basically. Like, he had those lings go in early, but he hasn't seen what 9K's doing since then. And 9K going up to a 3rd Rax. His factory is also very late. Yeah. So typically, like, you want the factory between 6 and 7 and as close to 6 as possible. And it is now 8 minutes, and 9K has not started it. The alternative sort of to that would be if you had went up with more factory or with more barracks sooner. You did like a +1 4x build, but we didn't. Our eBay was actually pretty late. Don't think we really need to engage here. Like, yeah, maybe swipe there. We found a little window to shoot some SCVs. I don't know if, I don't know. 9K's tech is so late, I don't think Green really even needs to be bothering with this. The muta control is not great, so we're losing those. Okay, we finally started taking this. We have our Queen's Nest, Hive on the way, +1 armor started. I may have missed it entirely, but I don't know if, like, did we ever get marine range in this game? I don't know if we did, because I saw the stim, and then +1 started, but I didn't see anything after that. So I think with these we kind of just want to draw attention, and 9K is moving up like he's scouted. He knows where the 3rd is. Missed if there was a scan, but this is obviously moving with intention. There's nothing defending the space, so the space is dead. Yeah, I think this, like, getting a base like this definitely makes more sense if green had like gone into lurkers immediately, and then we were able to like put some lurkers at the ramps here. But we just don't really have the units to defend this in any way. Like even the mutas, like whatever this is, 9 mutas. That's at almost 10 minutes in the game. That isn't like super scary. Just the rallying bio should be enough to stop that. So now green is down to 2 base, which is pretty rough. His hive is almost done. He's probably going to throw down an Ultralisk Cavern because he hasn't made a Hydra Den. Yep, there's the Ultralisk Cavern. He hasn't made a Hydralisk Den yet, so he's not doing any sort of lurker play at all. He's skipping. He's doing like a crazy Zerg kind of. Although if you were going to do a crazy Zerg, you definitely want this Evo quite a bit faster because that's kind of your plan, is like fast armor ultras. 9K's upgrades are also not very fast though. He's got +1 finished, but he doesn't even have a science facility yet for the +2, and we're at 1040. But green trying to hide another base. He's got the muta count a little bit boosted up, but I mean I think it's still not that much to fight a Terran ball like this. He does at least use the +1. Yeah, we're trying to. We don't have the drone count. When you play Crazy Zerg, you kind of want to get like a fat drone count, and then you can, you invest into upgrades, and it's like the ultras are kind of like the star of the show, but a lot of the damage you actually do comes from having a bunch of upgraded, cracklings, because you definitely get that also. And I mean, cracklings with upgrades, especially upgrades that are favorable against Terrans, just do like absolutely insane damage. So I mean, this can definitely bust 5 sunks. I think we might be about to see that in just a second. We didn't really go in properly. You want to send the medics first and then the bio after that. So we took kind of some unnecessary shots. We danced around a little bit and lost some of our bio. So instead we traded our entire army for 3 sunks, which is not ideal. A little bit of an opportunity here for green on the counter, but he's got 21 drones. He's on 2 bases. He's starting ultra armor. He does have a pretty nice gas bank. So if he can stay alive long enough to like get the minerals to produce the ultras, there's a shot. So we are countering here. I don't think, yeah, this is not it. Yeah, so we kind of just traded all our mutas there for not very much. I don't know, I think this map is like not ideal for this sort of style. I think this performs a lot better on a 4-player map where there's like a more defined main you can put the base at. And again, you also you really need to be on top of the armor upgrade. Like we're 13 minutes in and we just have like +1 carapace. We don't have any for plus attack. I think we needed to make more drones early on. And even just, I mean, you can do this off of 2 bases. Basically until the Ultralisks come out, and then once the Ultralisks pop, you send the Ultralisks, and you have a lot of lings also, so you can fight on the map that way, and that's when you take like a 3rd and a 4th very quickly. But we didn't really have the economy to do that here. Now we're also adding in a Greater Spire, just I guess because we have these mutas. And I think we're feeling the pressure in this situation as Zerg, not having 3 bases. So I think he's feeling like, okay, what do I have? I have, I got my 8 mutas. I can make Guardians, I can get something done. Yeah, I think we're losing the mutas here, or a lot of them. So I think we're going, like if we tried to do this too, I think that's too many tech paths when we just don't have the gas to afford it. So he's accepted that he's losing this. He's hiding a drone in the corner, hoping this won't get killed, so he can make another hatchery afterwards. Very sneaky play. He's got Zerglings. Okay, he's making the 4 Ultralisks. The gas bank is still massive. Yeah, so okay, and 9K also finds this hidden drone. He's taking a third himself. It's a mineral only, but when you're going bio, that's less of a deal. We have a lot of idle SCVs, something to work on. The SCV count, though, is good. 55 is quite a few. And we have, what is this, seven racks, which is low for this point in the game, but our supply looks pretty good. It's low because if we were trading these armies more, and Zerg had more, you really want to be able to like remake the army very quickly. Okay, so he's kind of just scanning around, making sure Zerg doesn't have any hidden bases that he doesn't know about. Ultras are about to pop. I think Green wants to make sure that these vessels cannot irradiate those ultras. And yeah, wow, these Marines are all the way up to +2/+2. And yeah, the ultras are only at 4 armor, so these ultras are actually not even gonna trade that well with this bio. But we definitely want to like gather everything together as Terran. See if we can get in there or irradiate any of these beforehand. That'll still help. He's about to have +2 carapace, which will bring his total armor to 5. So 5 against 8 to shoot, so it'll be 3 damage a shot, which yeah, is fine. I mean, I think Zerg is fine in that case if they have like a comparable army. We're going a little bit early. We need to send everything. We're fighting with part of our army. If there's a way to let Green back in, this is it. Well, it looks like the Ultras are not fighting particularly cleanly either. And I mean, this is a good position to fight. Like, we have a lot of medic blocking going on here. Okay, it looks like Zerg is going to probably clean up. Look at all this energy, though. Like, we can even, I guess, hang around to irradiate these afterwards. It looks like, okay. 9K is making some BCs, replenishing his bio at home. Okay, the bio army in the end is going to win. These ultras just don't hit very hard because they're +0. So Terran is going to march forward here and claim game 1 in a moment. Crack just finished right now. Yeah, Green's down to 45 supply. He is countering over at Terran's third. I mean, he will definitely clean this up, but I also don't think it actually matters because he's going to lose his main for it. He doesn't have any sort of like hidden base out there. And he doesn't, okay. So 9K did clean this up. He was paying attention. He didn't lose that many workers in the process. Yep, so Green calls it. That'll be a 1-0 for 9K. And we'll see what map game 2 is going to be on. Looks like Polyploid. Classic. Load that up. Okay, looks like the scoreboard is right. Okay, so spawning in the bottom left is the red Terran, currently up 1-0. This is 9K for Team Unhinged. And for Team Legion, we have the blue Zerg spawning in the top left. This is ash.Green. Let's see if he decides to change it up a little bit here. I think if Green goes for the same strategy that he did in game 1, he'll find that on this map it works better. He chose the map, so he should have, you know, something in mind for this. Yeah, so like what was really missing from the strategy that Green tried to do is you definitely want to have, like, if you're going to try and take a third like that, you want some ability to defend it. And on a map like Matchpoint, you're just hiding it somewhere and hoping he doesn't come across it. But if you're doing like this sort of like a crazy Zerg type build, often you're just going to be defending with mutas and sunks. And particularly on Matchpoint, like that corner base that he had taken, it actually still has 2 ramps. So it's like not even that good of a base, but it's also pretty hard to defend. That would be similar to like these, the 12, 3, 6, and 9 bases. You can see right here, there's a ramp here. There's one over here you'd be able to see soon on Polypoid. So those would also be not great to hold. I think the way you would do it on this map as Zerg is you would probably take one of the naturals and try to sunk it up early if you did the same thing. Okay, we're going with a 12 hatch here, very standard in this matchup. 9K just making the racks, he's sending out his scout. He should go this direction, so... Okay, he's not though. Normally you... Oh, I think on Polypoid actually the way you can do this is if you go the opposite way, you can try to see the Overlord flying. And the Overlord flying from here, right? So you would know you'd be like scouting 2 positions at once. Either way, whatever the technical way to do it is, 9K is going to first scout green here. And you will see that this is a very normal 12 hatch. I wasn't closely watching, but I think this is like a 12 hatch, 11 pool, 10 gas. And then because we scouted that, he's going for the 15 CC, which is a perfectly valid thing to do. This used to be, people still do it, but this used to be like super common. If you would first scout Zerg and see a hatchery first, you'd throw down the CC at 15, and you get a stronger economy out of it, faster timings, but what you really give up is if you wait till 18 to make your CC, you can make non-stop Marines up to 4, and then you can do like an early 4 Marine pressure, which can really catch Zerg. That got pretty common, so Zerg started just like really looking for it and making a few lings initially, but then they'll make like, you know, a second and third pair and get up to 6 by the time something like that would hit, and then it's not going to be effective anymore. If you want to do something like that, it's crucial to keep this SCV alive, because if you can't see Zerg's base, you're just gambling. But in this case, 9K is going to lose the SCV anyway. Okay, so he's taking his gas earlier this time. Academy is a more normal time, I think. Academy needs to be coming down. I'm sure it is in a second. And we have 3 Marines, but they're not very tightly packed together. This 4 lings, if this was 6, this could potentially be a little scary. I think against 4, we're going to be fine, though. And instead, we just trade 2 lings for a Marine. Excuse me. So we have our 2 Raxes for our 2 Rax of CAD. We got our Spire coming down for green. Super standard game going on right now. He's actually already got his drone over here. That's pretty fast. To take the 3rd, usually the way you do this is you like send the drone after you take like the Spire and the gas. So this is like extra fast. This is probably like his scouting drone. He just left it over there. Yeah. So this is just kind of by the book 2 hatch Muta. We're throwing down a sunk. 9K should, yeah, his medics are on the way. Stim is researching. So this is like a pretty good, this is a pretty solid timing from 9K for his 2 Rax Academy. He definitely needs to be thrown down the eBay, like shortly. Yeah. So this is pretty reasonable. Looks like green is maybe here waiting to counter. Yep, he needs a 2nd sunk for this. And he definitely like needs to use these lings. I think if this is not done, or like just the sunks, okay. Instead went in with the lings, he's gonna lose them. This is actually somewhat scary. We might get some damage here. We went early with our Marines, which makes it a bit worse. Yeah. Potential here. Yeah, I think this ultimately wasn't successful because we didn't do the engage right. He kind of stemmed and went ahead, and there was a sunk, and then his medics were left trailing. But at least he did force a lot of lings out of green, and this is the timing where what green wanted to be doing was making mutas, and so he's been slightly delayed on that. That gives 9K more time to make his turrets, which he's done. This turret is a priority. It's not going to matter He's doing this Ling counterattack, and the mutas are not on the way yet. But the most important turrets are actually the Rax turrets, because the main way that Zerg can win off of this actually is they can kind of just rally mutas forever over your barracks, and then you can't reinforce, and all of your Marines just die immediately, and that's like actually a win condition for Zerg in this scenario. And so Green clean up that firebat attack that was on his third. Should just be droning up, just making mutas, see what he can get done. These mutas got delayed a lot by that that pressure. All those lings that were forced, for sure. They definitely did some like economic damage, some timing damage. Green is still going for all the mutas, so there's still value in these turrets. Greens have... okay, that's odd. So he's actually getting armor first. Alright. Not necessarily the... like, this is incredibly uncommon. You pretty much always go attack here. Maybe this is a misclick. I feel like the only time you could really even argue going armor first on your bio would be if you think it's lurkers, maybe, but I mean, we've obviously seen, like, we've seen the Spire, I think, so we know that it's not. I think it's just a mistake. So he's got his Hydra down, he's not really committing long term to the mutas, but he does have 9 of them, he's going up to 12. I think if you're gonna make the +1 attack, you want to go to like at least that. Probably a little more even. Continue making a few more. Yeah. Okay, lurker aspect on the way as well. Interesting that Green opted to play a very standard style on this map, because I think that something like a mute all-in is actually better on something like match point, or you could play like a Hydra Guardian or something that doesn't ultimately require you to get 3 gas as Zerg. Burns, yep. But we are losing mutas in the process. We're already down 3. Instead of going, oh, he found a nice pocket to kill. A lot of stuff here. He's definitely going to get some economic damage. On the other side of this, 9k is moving out. He's going to try and get this, get the third from Green. Green is still pretty far away from lurkers. So the normal way you would answer this would be you would take your mutas and you would kind of dog these Marines as they were heading out. You'd pick off any reinforcements from behind, but instead he went to do economic damage, which he's still doing. And that's still valuable, but I don't think it's worth trading your third for. Yeah. Again, we've kind of stemmed ahead of our medics, but again, it doesn't matter. There's a few mutas over here, but this third is essentially dead. So Green needs to be thinking about probably doing some kind of an all-in at this point. Yeah, I think once you lose the third, like this third is kind of the game for Zerg. There's like an opportunity to counter, but the way that it unfolded is like we went in with our mutas, and then 9k's response was to go take the third. I think it could make more sense if we waited for 9k to be up here, we still had our mutas, and while all of that was happening, I guess we could go for lurkers, we could be massing a bunch of lings, and then while everything's across the map, you head into the natural, see what you can get done, and that's definitely a strategy that can work. This one a little too close. Still though. Nice thing for 9k here at least is he did get that +1 armor, so this is going to be 3 lurker spines instead of the usual 2. That could actually be helpful. We've got more lurkers walking in, we definitely need more than the 1. Yeah, see it's a 3rd spine. And he also hasn't started the +1 attack even. So this lurker's dead, but it did well for itself. Green's in a pretty rough spot though. Like I think if you when you lose the third like that, you just kind of have to act decisively and try to go for a kill. It could be mutas, it could be lurkers, but I think you kind of have to have something because your production is just not really going to scale. Yeah, it's just going to be too much bio for Green to fight from here on out. And he is scrapping. He's again going for the Greater Spire. Doesn't have a lot of mutas though. And I don't think the timing is quite fast enough necessarily. Like, if there's multiple vessels, like if there's more than 2 vessels out, I think it's, ooh, this isn't great. We have a lot of idle SCVs here that we haven't realized. Tanks coming, okay, so these are going to be the first vessels that are popping. 2 vessels is like okay for your Guardian timing, I think, but anything more than that, it starts getting pretty dicey. Usually what you'll do is Zerg is you'll make like 1 Devourer, hoping to splash onto any cloaked Wraiths, because cloaked Wraiths is another Terran response to that. Yeah, so we're making some Guardians. It's 5. I think they still get damage. Kind of depends how 9K reacts to it. But I think we're on 20 drones as Green here. I think we just don't really have the economy to compete for very much longer. Okay, we're trying to counter in. You can see the pressure. If this is anything like last time, yeah, this will trigger 9K to attack. I think there was more potential here if these were stop lurkers. Well, I mean, there's no medics with this, so this is actually going to go pretty well for Green. We can also get these tanks for sure, cover those up, and these lings actually have crack, so this is very APM intensive. But I think what you want to do here as 9K, yeah, you want to evacuate the SCVs, but you also want to take these vessels and you want to do like you would do an eraser, where you have 1 vessel irradiate another, and then you get it in close to these Guardians because the irradiate lasts longer than it takes to kill 1 Guardian. So like ideally you can put it next to 2 Guardians and kill 2, but even if you can't, you can at least injure a second one. And here's the Wraiths, like I was talking about. I think Green was like pretty successful in being scrappy here and kind of made this more threatening than he had any right really to. But I still think this is, he just, you know, he's just now got a 3rd hatchery up. He's got no upgrades. He's got a ton of sunks at the front. I think he thought that there was a counter coming, which I think there was. It just never actually got here. I think there'd be some value in doing stop lurkers though. Like, less now because we have vessels out, but 9K was pretty late on his vessels, and he was out on the map in a way that you generally can't be. Like, once the lurker timing is hit, Terran is supposed to like account for the possibility of stop lurkers. Otherwise it's a bit of a gamble. So yeah, we're not even fully saturated on the natural here. Like, we have several patches that aren't being mined. I think, like, we're in the game technically, but Green just doesn't really have the economy to compete. And 9K is letting him in a little bit because, again, he has a lot of idle SCVs, same as before. He hasn't taken a 3rd. I know that 9K comes from SC2, and it's possible in SC2 you can rally from your CC directly to the patches, and the SCVs will start mining on their own. Obviously that's not the case in Brood War, but if you're used to that, I could see that being an issue where you miss idle workers at times for that. Yeah. So 9K can just go around here. I mean, he obviously doesn't know what kind of supply Green has, so he's being more cautious than he needs to be. But Zerg does not have Defiler yet. Although he has the building for it, he's got the mound. He doesn't have consume though. You can kind of just go around and do whatever as Terran here. If there's no Dark Swarm. 9K has a lot of irradiates to spend though. We definitely need to be getting in there. I don't think it's gonna matter. That was maybe some decent focus firing right there. Like some targeting of those Scourge. We saved all our vessels. Yeah, but this, I mean, this Terran army with its... Okay, maybe he has like a bad hotkey, because he's now getting +2 armor, and he's got +0 attack, so maybe he has like, he changed his hotkeys or something, and he thinks he's pressing attack, I don't know. Or maybe he just really loves beefy Marines. Yeah, we're finally using some of these irradiates. Like, look at this vessel energy, this is crazy. One of these is like full or almost full. Yeah, we have a full one. This is almost 3 just like click and you're dead to Zerg units. Like every Zerg unit except for an Ultralisk dies to an Irradiate. And an Ultralisk mostly dies. It's like a super OP spell. So green looking to take some bases around the map. But 9K is already up to almost 110 supply. Consume is almost done, crucially. I think he just doesn't have the gas to contest this sort of stuff though. Like in this situation, the Defilers are great, but you also would need Scourge. Yeah, like he just doesn't have a way to engage with this. These Lings can't really do anything. These Sunks are dead. Like we're gonna move a Lurker up and put a Lurker under the cloud, which is nice, but yeah, I can't even make it there. But even still, it would just be 1 click to irradiate, and that would be it. So green's gonna call a good game, and that's gonna be a 2-0 victory for 9K and Team Unhinged here. So thanks for watching.